Hello there, I'm John Scott. I'm a councillor here in Orkney, and I'm here because I believe that it's now the time for the war in Gaza to end. I would like to see all the hostages returned, and then there would be no excuse for Israel doing what it has been doing. I was saddened last night that Hezbollah actually attacked Kiryat Shmona, because I did live in Israel for a year and I know the people, and that time it was very left-wing. But I worked with Israelis, I worked with Palestinians, and at that time it was always much better. I disagree with the West Bank situation, and I'm really here, I suppose, to say on behalf of the hostages, it's time for Hamas to let you go and for things to settle back down to what they were like before, so that some agreement can be reached on the West Bank and in other areas of the Middle East.
So I'm Alex Armitage. I'm a local politician up in Shetland, and I'm here down in Orkney. I've come down for the weekend to stand in solidarity, to join the Orkney Palestinian Solidarity Group. And it's wonderful to see so many people out here in the sunshine standing in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in Palestine and in Gaza. We are heartbroken at the suffering and the trauma that's happening in Palestine, and we're doing everything we can to stand in solidarity with our fellow human beings, and also to do as much as we can to put pressure on people in power in Britain and elsewhere in the world to stop the genocide that's happening in Israel, Palestine at the moment. One of the things that we did in Shetland was we got the local council, of which I'm a part, to pass a motion calling for a ceasefire, for a return of hostages and for humanitarian aid to be able to come in to the Gaza Strip, which is badly needed. And so I was really happy to help to unite our community in Shetland behind the global call for a ceasefire. And every little bit that we do, every person that stands here that pledges their solidarity to the people of Palestine is one extra person that is calling for peace and calling for justice. So I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be bringing greetings from Shetland. All around the world, we're joining hands, we're standing together for peace, for justice, for a ceasefire.
Hi, I'm Deepa Shah. I'm a GP living in Shetland and working in Shetland, and we've come to visit Orkney this weekend, and it's been really wonderful to be able to join with Orkney folk in solidarity with people in Palestine. We feel so devastated to hear what's happening, and all our thoughts and wishes are with you all. It's not going unseen, and we can only hope for a much better, more positive future. And it's wonderful to see so many people here today, all wanting to do the same.
We continue to stand here in Vigil and in solidarity with the people of Palestine, and not just within Gaza but the West Bank. We keep hearing, although not in our mainstream media, of the increasing attacks on West Bank settlements and refugee camps. We hear of houses demolished, we hear of people hurt and imprisoned, we hear of how difficult it is for them to be getting the aid in that they need as well. So we cannot forget the West Bank within this. We are talking about all of Palestine, even while we focus on the horrific situation in Gaza. This week we have seen the Israeli government choose not to accept a ceasefire, which would have seen the release of all prisoners and all hostages. It would have seen an end to the fighting for now, so we could take a break and actually work out what's happening. While Palestinians within Gaza were cheering and celebrating the fact that Hamas had accepted the terms of that ceasefire, we were then hearing at the same time that Israel were going to attack Rafah, attack a already besieged city with well over 1 million refugees within its walls and within the outlying areas. The area that they've now been told to go to is an enlarged safe area, is a barren zone with nothing there to support them. They are being moved from pillar to post. They are being continually attacked. Aid is not getting through, and we are seeing videos of Israelis who are blockading and damaging the roads, so that even if technically the Israeli government are saying that stuff can cross, it can't. We cannot stop speaking out.
I just wanted to draw your attention to the Orkney news story that was out today on their website, and it focuses on tomorrow, which is the International Day to commemorate nurses. And the article that Fiona's written focuses on healthcare workers in Gaza who are really at the sharp end of the situation there. It's a fascinating read, but also extremely troubling, because so many healthcare workers have been killed, injured, taken into Israeli custody, and even she focuses on one doctor who was killed in an Israeli prison just last week. So definitely worth a read if you have a moment to do that. On the 15th of this month, which I think is Wednesday, it's the day that Palestinians commemorate as Nakba Day, which is remembering in 1948 when about 750,000 Palestinians, including my own father, were forced out of their homes in Palestine and were never allowed to return. So there are going to be a lot of commemorations this week, especially considering that in Gaza, more than 1 million people have now been forced out of their homes, which is, absolutely shocking, in 2024. So again, I wanted just to thank everybody for coming out today. The situation in Gaza seems to be going from bad to worse. They don't seem to be able to get any humanitarian supplies in at the moment. People are on the move. Over 100,000 people are leaving Rafah, where they were supposed to be in a safe zone. You just can't imagine what people are going through. We continue as Amnesty International and Orkney Friends of Palestine to call for a ceasefire, the return of all hostages, and the entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza. We've heard yesterday from Dr. Salim Anati, our friends in the Shufat refugee camp in Jerusalem, who are also suffering great distress because the camp's been sealed off. They've had incursions from the military. Children are suffering psychological trauma. But in the same time, Dr. Salim sends his thanks and greetings to all of us who week after week continue to protest, continue to come to our vigils. So thank you everyone for that. I'd just like to now hand over to Brian, because he's going to give us some information about an event on Friday that we hope everyone will be able to attend. And just before I do that, I wanted to mention again that Susie, our friend, has been doing these lovely paintings for us that people over the weekend signed. And I sent the latest signature page to Dr. Salim last night, which has given him great encouragement and hope. But just because people have asked over the weeks, we've now done some copies of Susie's painting, different sizes. So if people, wanted a copy, you're very welcome to have one. And if you wanted to make a donation, we're collecting funds for the Children's Center in the Shufat refugee camp that provides, social care and help and trauma care and camps for children in the Shufat refugee camp. So I'll have these afterwards if people want them. So over to you, Brian.
In the south of Israel, there are about 40 Bedouin villages which are unrecognized by the Israeli authority. We have a connection with one of those called Al-Sira, and a community leader from Al-Sira is visiting the UK. It should be arriving in London today. He'll be coming up here towards the end of next week for a few days. and he'll be speaking in the St Magnus Centre at 7:30 on Friday evening. So if you want to know how a different group of Palestinians are suffering from Israeli discrimination and oppression, do come along there. Thank you.
And I'd just like to end by saying thank you so much to our 2 Orkney Islands councillors who are joining us today, and our 2 parliamentary candidates, one from Orkney and one has come down especially from Shetland. Thank you, so much for coming today and for taking time to speak to some of us. Thank you.